Arguments for and against having cameras in the courtroom to be presented in court today when it comes to the trial of Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students last November. Both prosecutors and Kohberger's defense team asking the judge to bar cameras from capturing the proceedings. But the families of at least 2 of the victims want the trial to be as public as possible. Here with us now for a look at both angles of this, let's bring in criminal defense attorney and host of the podcast Defense Diaries, Bob Motta. Bob, thank you for your time. So we know both the defense and prosecution are pushing to keep cameras out. They're citing potential public influence as a possible reason. It's interesting that we're hearing that from both sides. So explain what that means and what that would actually look like or could look like.
Hey, Nichole, thanks for having me. Yeah, as far as the defense goes, I mean, their primary concern is obviously being able to get an impartial jury impaneled because, you know, the more it's televised, the more difficult that becomes. It seems like people don't really want to believe that. But, you know, with a case that has just this much media attention, not just in mainstream media, but social media, it's just that type of case. Frankly, I don't know that I've ever seen one like this. You know, maybe OJ, but we didn't have social media back then, so it's not really comparable. So that's what the defense cares about. As far as the state goes, they're concerned about the safety of the witnesses that may be testifying. They're concerned about the jury, you know, because there's been some sloppy camera work in the past, even though there's been court orders mandating how they're supposed to operate in there. So that's what the state's worried about. So for both sides, I think they're in agreement, you know, and then we have the interveners, the media, you know, from the defense side of it. I agree that they shouldn't have cameras. From my podcast side, I want cameras.
Absolutely. So, Bob, I mean, you know, you mentioned, you know, O.J. Simpson. There's been some other high-profile cases we'll get into in just a moment. But is it social media? Is that the problem? Because is it possible for Kohberger to get a fair trial? I mean, we've seen cameras in other high-profile cases.
I hope so. You know, I mean, I've handled some high-profile cases where my client, you know, was basically convicted in the press and we got a jury impaneled. But I think once the jurors get into that box and they're in the trappings of the court, they really take that duty very, very seriously. So you hope that they'll abide by the law. Because, I mean, frankly, there's a very low likelihood that you're going to get somebody in that jury box that hasn't heard anything about the case. So if that's the case, and if they formed an opinion, you just have to rely on the fact that they're going to rely on the law and they'll be instructed by the judge. Look, I understand that you formed an opinion, but aside from that, are you going to be able to follow the law and make the correct finding at the end of the day? And if they answer yes, then, I mean, the judge considers them cured. I hope so. It's going to be challenging. I mean, if they're going to sequester them, I mean, what do? Take their phones away, take the TV out, can't let them use computers? It's modern day, and it's just something we're going to have to address moving forward for sure.
Yeah, it certainly gets more complicated, you know, as we advance with our technology. Bob, as you know, at least 2 of the victims' families, you know, believe that there's really been a lot of secrecy surrounding this investigation. They believe for this trial to be fair, the public and the media should be allowed to watch. This is at least 2 families of the victims. Should their opinion matter?
Of course it should. I mean, this case really at the heart of it is about them. But for them being killed, we're not here, right? So, I mean, obviously, they should absolutely have a voice. I mean, ultimately, if the judge is going to give that weight, it's going to depend on how much weight, you know, because it's always going to be in favor of the defendant in terms of what the judge is going to rule because of, you know, his constitutional rights to a fair trial, but he also has to, you know, he's got the right to a public trial. The question becomes, does that mean televised, you know, to the world at large, or, you know, because that part of the fair trial came about because of transparency. So, you know, the parents are arguing, look, there has to be transparency, and they're right about that. So ultimately, it's going to be the judge weighing whether or not that's too much transparency in terms of them streaming it to the world, or if it's not enough. So I happen to think that it's going to go the way of Valo, and they're just going to give us audio. I hope not, but that's the way I think it's going to go.
Well, you know, that'll certainly at least be something. We'll see what happens. Criminal defense attorney Bob Motta, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.